What's happening, everyone? Pragmatic Addict here. So I just got out of seeing the latest A24 horror film, Talk to Me.
Talk to me, talk to me, talk to me, baby!
They like you.
So, right off the bat, I'm just gonna say what I was kind of going into this movie feeling. So, I reacted to both trailers, and I'm gonna be honest, upon viewing the trailers from like an A24 horror film, I really wasn't feeling too much originality. I really wasn't going into this with too much anticipation or expectations based off of those trailers, but the praise for this film has actually been fucking overwhelming. It's currently like one of the highest rated films of the year. People were saying that as far as horror, it is one of the like best films that they've experienced in years. Even Jordan Peele going on to calling the directors and saying how inspired he was by the film after viewing it. And it was just one of those things where the closer it actually got to releasing, the more I actually couldn't fucking wait to see it. It was just like a total turnaround. Like, as of last week, I was like, okay, I kind of feel like this film might just punch me in the fucking gut. And without spoiling everything, I'm just gonna say, guys, this is, without a doubt, one of the most brutal and gnarliest horror films I have seen in some fucking time. Like, I would actually go as far as to say that, like, as a horror fan and as a film critic and as someone who gets a little bit cocky and kind of wants horror to push its limits depending on certain aspects in the horror genre, for this film to have me in such of a fucking grasp, I can't even imagine just how people of just wanting to go out on a Friday night and, you know, see a kind of the next like big scary film. You're not ready. This film is heavy. So let's get into Talk to Me. So the first thing I noticed right off the bat was the actual like atmosphere of the movie. It's very gritty. The score is booming. It's unsettling. A lot of the film does take place at night in very like not very well lit areas. This environment that we're watching, it feels like a place where a movie like this would take place. It is a teen film. It centers around, you know, a group of teens, maybe like a school, as you will, like a community basically, where all these teens are just kind of getting drawn to this possessed item. It kind of becomes like viral where everyone that interacts with the hand, it's always in like a huge group setting. It's this big event, everyone's recording it. And the thing about this hand is that you don't really know what you're going to gain from it. Everyone has a different reaction with it. Everyone has a different experience. Some things are very intense. Some things come off a little bit silly. Like one scene that really like came to me like, okay, yes, this is from the guys behind RackaRacka with, you know, how they incorporate a lot of like comedy and horror, is that there's this scene and it's like a montage where it takes place in like a setting of like a house party of sorts, and it's a montage, so you see like everyone in the party just kind of having a quick turn with it, and some, you know, interactions are coming off a little bit silly, some things are coming off as like, okay, you know, it's obviously giving this person whatever kind of reaction, and some things are coming off where you're like, okay, so why did it affect this person like that? But basically the story about like interacting with this hand, because I'm not going to spoil anything, and believe me, I had a lot of questions about this film. You know, what is the story behind this hand? Where did it come from? What does it do to the people interacting with it? How did it get to where it's at now with this group of, you know, with this community of teens? But basically how it works is that you shake the hand and you basically say, talk to me, and then you follow it up with, I'll let you in, which is basically like whatever is connected to the hand, whatever entity or spirit or whatever, you're basically allowing it to go inside you, and it speaks through you. It, you know, shows you things from whatever it's seeing or whatever it chooses to show you or tell you, and basically there's a rule where you only interact with it for 90 seconds, because if you interact with it for longer than 90 seconds, well, we're not supposed to know. We don't want to know. But the thing is that eventually we do end up seeing what ends up happening, and it takes place with the main character who interacts with the hand, and she basically describes it as the best feeling that she has ever felt. It's like an orgasm, right? And she basically ends up becoming obsessed with this thing, and how she describes it, more teens are kind of swarming up to this hand and wanting to, interact with it and having their own reactions and their own, feelings about it and their own experiences with it. And what I will say is that when we actually see that line being crossed, like someone, going over the 90 seconds, not only what ends up transpiring after that happens, but how they actually, make that fall into place, it was very creative. Whether it be the horror, the drama, the story, how it unravels, it is all so fucking creative. Talking about scares, based off of what we begin to kind of expect out of this film, at least for the first half, we're like, okay, whenever we see someone interacting with the hand, that's where we know we're like, alright, some shit's gonna go down. We don't know what, we don't know for how long, we don't know why, but get fucking ready. Well, it actually starts to experiment more with the horror as it goes on, where as the story unfolds, it actually feels like this whole world revolving around this movie is actually unraveling. Also, I'd actually say that, the drama in this movie, because I will say it, this film, it's a really heavy film. And it's like, when you're thinking about what this film sounds like, oh, it's a possessed hand and it's a teen movie, you don't expect it to be as heavy as it actually was. I'm gonna tell you guys something. I was taking deep breaths and exhaling hard throughout this movie, and not just during the horror. Whether it be the horror, whether it be the drama, whether it be the story, it is all equally effective, and it is all equally heavy. Also, I do want to talk about the horror, yes. This is a horror film. That's all I'm gonna say. Actually, no, that's not all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna hype this fucking thing up. There was a point in the movie where I'm like, okay, this is not only gonna be the iconic horror scene in the movie, but this is one of the gnarliest, most brutal, most disturbing horror movie scenes I have seen in a long time. Nope. There's actually a few more where I'm like, okay, we get it. You're a horror film, and you're damn good at your job. Also, as a teen film, what I will say is that the teens in here, they aren't annoying in the sense of oh god, it's a fucking teen film. It's not like that. These teens, they feel realistic in that angsty teen behavior way. They're all going through actually some pretty dark shit. And what I will say is that as a teen film, there is a lot of characters in this movie, and there is a lot of character within those characters, and it connects them together so well, where it honestly just is another thing that just connects you to the world of this movie. And I honestly think that it's a great idea for the teens, for this to be a teen movie more than anything, with this, with this hand, this object, because it works so incredibly. Because again, with this being this huge phenomenon in this community, with it being this kind of event, I thought it really worked well, in the beginning, where we haven't really seen shit go down yet, but we are aware that this has become, again, this has gained a following in this community amongst the teenagers here. For example, when we're witnessing, the first interaction with someone, when we're actually witnessing shit go down with someone interacting with his hand, we're seeing everyone gather around and kind of back up a little bit, and everyone's pulling out their phone, so it's they know that something is about to happen. Obviously, it's become so big, and this is such a huge thing where everyone's here and everyone's gathering around and kind of, keeping their distance, getting prepared with their cell phones. And even once we see that, and time after, you're okay, well, it's this new person, and there's so many characters, and like I said, everyone gets their own experiences, everyone has different reactions. Some people, their interactions with the hand, you're okay, I kind of can see that going this way because it's this character. And that's, like I said earlier, there's a lot of characters, and there's a lot of character within these characters, so that when these things are happening, it doesn't just feel okay, well, next jump scare is gonna happen. No, there's so much mystery. There's so much that feels natural. And there's so much that this film does right, where no matter how far we are into the movie, there's always anticipation. There's always expectations that you feel might be met, or lack thereof, just because of all the mystery and lore surrounding this film. I would actually say that, like, maybe the only genuine complaint I have about this film is that towards the end of the film, it does get very dramatic, and sometimes it can feel like it's dragging because it is so heavy and it's such a slow burn, and it gets, again, very dramatic. But I wouldn't actually even say that's a necessary complaint, because like I said earlier, whether it be the horror, the drama, the storytelling, it's always so engaging, and it's always so, like, it's all equally so creative, and it's always taking such surprising turns that no matter what's happening, I'm just interested, again, because I want to know about this world. Also, like, maybe that's partially because this is only a 95-minute movie, but ironically, in saying that, I think that this film is perfect as a 95-minute movie. Like, I think that if this movie were any longer, I wouldn't be able to handle it, man. This is, again, not only one of the gnarliest horror films I've seen in some time, but everything is all equally as effective, as heavy, and I think that for a 90-minute horror movie, this is probably one of the harder ones to sit through. Overall, guys, yeah, I thought Talk to Me was fucking great. It gets a positive review from me. So guys, that is going to do it for my review of Talk to Me. I cannot, sell this film anymore. This film is easily one of the best of the year. It is the best horror film of the year, and it is one of the gnarliest horror films I've seen in some time. This is not your typical Blumhouse horror. Go see Talk to Me. It is absolute top tier for A24 horror. But yes, guys, I'm going to wrap it up here with my review of Talk to Me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys check this out. I believe you guys will like it. And let me know what you guys thought about the movie, for those that saw it, down in the comments below, as well as my review. Thanks, guys, so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.